I'm in a place that's as big as Europe, and I'm only covering a quarter of the country. It's got some of the biggest mountains in North America, cowboy madness, spectacular wilderness, and some of the least populated areas on Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Western Canada!
Bordered by the Pacific and Arctic Oceans and the USA, Western Canada's 4 provinces are bigger than the European Union, yet with less than 9 million inhabitants. My 5,000-mile trip starts with Saskatchewan's legend of Grey Owl. I go to Alberta for the crazy Calgary Stampede and search for grizzlies near Jasper. British Columbia offers stylish Vancouver and wild rides in Whistler before I fly to the vast wilderness of the Yukon, seeking gold and rafting the Tatshenshini River.
I'm here with my parks guide, Colleen. We're about to go learn about the legend of Grey Owl.
The trip to Grey Owl's cabin starts in Prince Albert National Park on Waskesiu Lake, ending up in Lake Ajuan. During the 1930s, Grey Owl was Canada's most celebrated Indian and conservationist. His cabin is so isolated, it's a day-long epic journey just to get there.
Well, this is the beginning of the rail portage, and we'll stop at this dock here, bring the canoe up onto the rollers, and see if the rail car is there.
And then we carry the boat over ourselves?
Yeah, and just roll it up on the rollers here, and then hopefully the rail car will be there, and we'll load it up onto the cart.
You have to canoe across 2 lakes, carrying the canoe in between. That's called portage.
Is this cart always at the end that you're at? Or?
No, we were just lucky that it was waiting for us when we got there.
Boy, I'll say.
And then, yeah, so when we get to the far end now, we're gonna leave it there.
And we made it.
Yeah, end of the portage.
It looked pretty flat, but a lot of it was uphill. This is beautiful. I mean, look at it. It's like an exotic beach in the middle of nowhere. It's all mine.
This is the first lake you have to cross. It takes about 4 hours to paddle across. Then, you get to the second portage. No rail car assistance this time. In the 1930s, Grey Owl started writing and lecturing about conservation, presenting himself as a half-breed named Grey Owl. Eventually, Grey Owl became so popular, Parks Canada installed him here on Ajuan Lake as a conservationist.
Oh, look, there's the cabin.
Where?
Right around the corner here.
Oh, yeah.
Look.
Wow.
Oh,
This is amazing. This is like your own private lake.
that's right. That's what he said. Far enough away to gain seclusion.
Initially a trapper, the transition to conservation happened when Grey Owl became attached to the orphan offspring of some beavers he had trapped.
Oh, wow. It's an actual beaver lodge here, huh?
That's right. Actually, this cabin was designed so that the beavers could make their home in here. Might be the only cabin like this in the whole world.
I would think.
Yeah, so his pet beavers, Jelly Roll and Rawhide, they built their home right in with Grey Owl's home.
That is wild.
So the cabin was designed so that the beaver lodge could be half in the cabin and the other half is outside
So
the
they
cabin.
can go in and out into the water.
That's right, and in and out of the cabin that way.
Way ahead of his time, Grey Owl spoke and wrote of the threat civilization posed to native peoples and wildlife. His fame eventually resulted in a command performance at Buckingham Palace in 1938. When you see these photos, you understand how he could pass as an Indian. But he wasn't quite what he seemed.
So tell me, Colleen, now that we're here, who is Grey Owl?
Well, Grey Owl was actually an Englishman who was born as Archie Bellany in England, and he always dreamed of becoming an Indian, and also about the wilds of Canada. His big reason for coming here was to go into the wilderness and to find some Indians and live with them and learn how to live their ways.
So how did he get his name Grey Owl?
Well, he did get connected with the Ojibwe people, and he married into them and was friends with them, and it was a very, very close relationship there. And they noticed that he was always listening to everything they said, and he was always taking little notes. And they teasing him, you know, and they just called him Little Owl. And eventually that became Grey Owl. So this is his grave here.
Oh, wow.
He was just about 50 years old when he died in 1938. The day after he died, it was revealed in the newspapers that he indeed was not an Indian like he had said he was, but that he was actually an Englishman. Now, some people were really upset about this and confused in that. Even his wife hadn't known. But you know what? In the end, most of them said it didn't really matter.
He seemed like quite a complicated man, and probably somewhat tormented too. But while some people were disillusioned about the man, I believe his message and much of his presence still remain very powerfully today.
I think going to his cabin brought home to me not the fraud about who he was, that he was actually British and not a Native American, but that he really was for promoting the nature in this area and how much he really did love the area. It was a beautiful area, and so I can envy him living on that lake. It's beautiful.
You can't camp at the cabin, but this campsite is only about an hour away.
This is bear country, and when you're here, you've got to think of everything with sense, especially trash, but also toothpaste, gum, food on your clothing, anything that has a scent that might attract a bear must be put away and then put up in this bear cache. You use a ladder to get up there, and you know the bear can't get up here because of these steel protections, and you just put it on up. It's high enough so the bear can't reach it, and then the most important thing to remember, take the ladder away at the end so the bears can't get up there.
It's 9 o'clock at night. I know it's still light out, but it's been a long day. It's been a good day, but I'm a bit exhausted. Gotta get some sleep.
I could stay in the quiet wilderness of Prince Albert forever, but I've 5,000 miles to go. I'm heading across Saskatchewan's Great Plains to catch my flight to the next province. This is North America's largest grain-growing region, with mile upon mile of wheat, oats, barley, and it also has over 100,000 lakes. Western Canada has a good network of internal air routes, which comes in handy when you're traveling the kinds of distances I am. I'm heading to Alberta's oil town capital, Edmonton, before traveling south to Calgary for the world-famous Stampede. Thanks to its oil riches, Edmonton has become one of Canada's fastest-growing cities.
The #1 tourist attraction in Alberta, the West Edmonton Mall.
Covering over 5 million square feet, if you stretched it all out, it would almost cover New York City's Central Park. It has over 800 stores and services, a water park, amusement park, and 27 movie screens.
There's a ton of stuff you can do here, but some of it you might want to do before you eat. You can practice your shooting. Or you can take a walk with the penguins. Come on, Buggy. And you can't forget the national sport, ice hockey, eh? For a quick pick-me-up, you can visit your local oxygen bar.
or get an aqua massage.
Oh, yeah. And after a long day, why not crash at the mall, too?
The most popular hotel in Canada, the Fantasyland Hotel, offers accommodation with themed rooms. There's Polynesian rooms.
Wipe out!
There are Western rooms.
Whoa, partner, I'll get off here. Partner, sir.
Or trucker rooms.
This room's a big 10-4. I'm gonna hit the sack at the back of a truck. And I never even went shopping.
I'm heading down to Calgary for the greatest outdoor show on earth, the Calgary Stampede.
Calgary is just a couple hours away, and inspired by last night's hotel, I think I'll try to find a ride in a real truck. Going to Calgary? Yeah. Sweet.
Hitchhiking is illegal, but truck stops are a good place to find a ride.
It looks like rain. It's cloudy in the west, and it looks like rain. I left my slicker in the wagon again. Yippee-yi-yi, 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 yippee-yi-yi.
Oil may have helped Calgary grow into a city of 1 million people, and the 1988 Winter Olympics helped put it firmly on the world map. But what Calgary is best known for
Is the 10 days of cowboy madness known as the Calgary Stampede. The whole city gets involved.
cowboys come from all over to compete for big money and the attention of the local cowgirls.
Wranglers are synonymous, actually, with cowboys because it's the gene, it's known to be durable, and they look good in them. Wrangler jeans really did do for Western wear what the Cross Your Heart bra did for ladies' lingerie. They lift and separate.
Shucks, I go nuts for trucks and Wrangler butts.
Time to get me some of my own cowboy threads.
This is the place to come to get boots.
How you doing?
Good. I need to buy a pair of boots that I can go to the Stampede and dance in as well.
Okay, we've got over 12,000 pairs. I'm sure we can find you something.
Now this I'm feeling. Can I get one of these in 13, please?
Got my threads, now it's time to meet some cowboys.
I'm here at Ranchmas to learn a little cowboyology 101.
You're gonna learn a little bit about cowboying. You gotta get rid of that beverage you got right now. No cowboys ever drank anything like that.
What do we drink?
We're drinking Crown and Coke, and you better hold that right. A cowboy's gonna grab that cup and curl his hand around it, so no matter what happens, that thing's not falling out of his hand. Get a sip out of that. Next thing, I want you to know the way you're wearing your hat is a little ridiculous. We want 2 fingers between our brow and our hat. That's it.
Not only do you have to know what to wear and how to drink, you have to be a good dancer. Oh, and you have to be able to ride. Started in 1912, the Calgary Stampede has become one of the world's largest outdoor rodeo events, getting over 1 million visitors every July. This parade is what kicks off the 10-day party.
We've been coming since we arrived in Calgary 24 years ago, and we've probably missed a couple, that's all, but we're here every year, and it's just terrific. We love it.
The parade gives Western Canada's widely mixed community a chance to strut their stuff.
The Calgary Stampede, one of the 50 things to do before you die.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The main events of the Stampede take place in the Grandstand Arena. Bull riding, chuck wagon racing, steer wrestling, bronco riding, and even the kids get involved. They're called Mutton Busters. Kirk Moore is explaining some of rodeo's finer points to me.
So what are we watching here, Kirk?
Well, we're watching steer wrestling, otherwise known as bulldogging from the old days. And your cowboy on one side, he's going to get in the box back there. He's going to nod his head. They're going to release the steer out of the chute, and he's going to go chase it. That was a good one. It's a tricky little sport. I heard one fella say, when he was trying to make an impression on somebody who hadn't seen it before, it's kind of like hanging out your car window, go 40 miles an hour, and then just grab the next mailbox you see.
These guys really take a beating. Good thing there's a medical tent nearby. They use about 400 miles of tape on the riders during the Stampede. Terry Fitzsimmons got me back in the chutes to meet one of his bull riding proteges.
How do you learn to fall? Because it seems like, you don't know how you're going to land.
Yeah, when I talk to young guys that want a rodeo, I make a suggestion that the best way I can help them is the first lesson is to stand up on the top rail here on the chutes and do a belly flop in the dirt. And if they really like that, then we'll go to step 2.
Yeah, it's about how it feels.
The most famous event of the rodeo is the chuck wagon races. They started here, and the ones in Calgary are the best in the world. Buddy Bensmiller is one of the best of the best. He won the chuck wagon races last year. His father started a family tradition, and his sons are continuing it.
Is this the biggest day for you today?
Well, this is the biggest Stampede. In 10 days, if a guy can win it, that'll be the biggest day of the year.
What do you win?
There's a truck up to win if you can win the aggregate, and $10,000. And then if you can get into the dash and draw the lucky barrel and come out with no penalties, well, you can win $50,000.
$50,000. And you won that last year?
I won it last year, yeah.
Well, Zay, if you want to be a real chuck wagon driver, I'm going to introduce you to Kurt Bensmiller. He's Buddy's second oldest son, but the one that's competing with him today. And if anybody can get you to be a real chuck wagon driver, he's the man that's going to show you how to do it.
All right.
So.
Well, the first step to beat a chuck wagon driver is starting in the pitchfork installer.
What do I do? Just get this hay here?
Yeah.
Get the brown stuff.
Yeah, the brown stuff.
Leave this here?
And put his back into it.
Put your back into it.
Oh, that was sad. Remember to get the brown stuff. I can give you a spoon if that'll be easier. These athletes have to live in there. Make sure it's spotless. I think there's some in the corner. There's only 36 more stalls to go.
Another 6 years, you just might make it.
Chuck wagons like these helped cowboys live their life on the range, carrying cook stoves, food, and tents. 80 years ago, they started racing them here in Calgary, and now they're one of the featured events of the Stampede.
Well, Zay, Buddy and Kurt are busy right now, but they did tell me the good news is, with all your hard work today, the lodging is free.
Cool.
The bad news is, this is your lodging. Good thing you cleaned the stall out earlier. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, home is where you find it.
Have a great night.
Thanks.
See you in the morning.
All right.
I
Guess this is home sweet home. Don't squat with your spurs on. A cowboy's guide to life. Remember, even a kick in the caboose is a step forward. A smartass just don't fit in a saddle. Never miss a good chance to shut up. Guess that's my cue to hang up my hat.
These Stampede breakfasts go on every morning all around town. And get this, they're free.
But you have to be willing to stand online with a few thousand other people. I'm checking out some of the other Stampede events until the Chuck Wagon races later today. Right next to the rodeo arena is the Indian Village, where I chatted with Marcy McGinnis, the Stampede Indian Princess.
Natives have always been involved in the Calgary Stampede since 1912. We have been a part of this. You know, this is our stomping ground, so it's like, you know, we're from here, so obviously we'd like to have a little bit of ourselves portrayed in, you know, the greatest outdoor show on earth.
Another tradition you have to try at the Stampede can be found at Buzzard's Restaurant. Prairie oysters, a cowboy delicacy.
We've got au naturel. Kind of rubbery. We've got mixed nuts. That one's quite good. And we've got great balls of fire. It's a bit sweeter. I prefer the mixed nuts. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, prairie oysters are bull's balls.
Finally, it's time for the Chuck Wagon races. Buddy is the defending champion. 35 teams are competing against him.
Well, moment of truth. They're up. Woo, exciting.
Each Chuck Wagon has 4 outriders whose job, once the race starts, is to throw the camp stuff into the wagon. The wagons and horses do a figure 8, they jump onto their moving horses from the ground, and then off they go around the track.
Kind of reminds you of Rush Hour, doesn't it? Downtown Calgary.
You've got to have some serious cojones to do this. I mean, I would know. I just ate some.
Buddy didn't win tonight, but he has another week of racing to go. As for me, it's time for me to get back into the saddle again and hit the road.
Inspired by the Cowboys, I got myself my own Mustang to take me out of the city and into the mountains. Yee-haw!
I'm heading along the beautiful Icefields Parkway past Lake Louise along the Rocky Mountains in search of grizzly bears near Jasper. Route 1, or the Trans-Canada Highway, at almost 5,000 miles, is the longest highway in the world, stretching from one side of the country to the other. 90% of Canada's population live within 100 miles of it. Although you could take a bus, renting a car is definitely the way to go.
Drive only takes about 3.5 hours, but give yourselves more time because there's lots to do along the way.
One of your first stops would have to be Lake Louise.
One of the most popular destinations in Western Canada, Lake Louise is known as the jewel of the Rockies.
Lake Louise marks the beginning of the Icefields Parkway. It's a spectacular 2-hour drive to Jasper through the largest ice fields in the Rockies.
That's the Athabasca Glacier. 100 years ago, it came down to this parking lot. Since then, it's retreated 1 mile.
With its great mountain location, Jasper is a hub for a lot of outdoor activities. But after that long drive, I just want to lay back.
This may look like a regular swimming pool, but it's actually a natural hot springs coming from these mountains right here.
I know there's a lot of fun things to do here, but I'm on a mission. I'm off to see a man about a bear.
I'm meeting with Gordon Stenhouse, the provincial grizzly bear specialist of Alberta. He's running the largest grizzly bear project in the world, studying hundreds of bears, mostly in the forest areas in and around Jasper National Park.
Well, this is the 6th year of the Foothills Model Forest Grizzly Bear Program. And what our program is focusing on is trying to understand how grizzly bears and people can coexist on the same landscape. There's a host of activities that occur in grizzly bear habitat, and of course that's affecting the habitat for bears. From my own perspective, grizzly bears represent wilderness. If we can maintain grizzly bears, it shows that we can maintain our wild spaces, that we can be wise stewards of the landscape, and that future generations will know that we have been good stewards.
Gordon sent me out with some of his crew to help with some field work, checking and setting bait to lure bears.
Okay, so what are these stinky things that are absolutely foul smelling?
This is what we're going to use for bait in the middle of our trap. First one here is rotten fish, and we put about 1/3 of a cup of liquefied rotten fish in here, and then we add about 3 liters of rotten cow blood that has bacteria in it, so it's really stinky.
Gee, just hold your breath. It's already so bad.
I hope you had your breakfast too.
Yeah, I hope it stays in. Doesn't come up. Oh my God, that just looks bad.
Okay, so you want to pour about 1/3 of a cup into here, just of the liquid. Try not to get the whole bits in there.
Oh God, that's bad.
Okay, that's good.
We also have to make our drag, which is a piece of that rotten fish in a burlap bag that we drag up to the site.
And we just need about 1/3 of a fish or whatever you can manage to get up there.
So...
Okay. Just put it right in?
Yep. Good job.
Is this fresh cow blood?
No, it's actually left out to rot, and it just makes it a lot more smelly and a higher chance of attracting some animals into the trap. Hopefully grizzly bears. So
oh, that's foul.
that's the right amount, and we'll just close that up again to get rid of the smell. You could be the honor drag guy.
All right.
So you just want to pull it on the ground behind you.
Oh, just drag it?
Yeah.
Really?
And you just
oh,
get
you want to leave a trail?
Scents on the ground, yeah.
Okay.
Kim and Corrine are taking me to a trap they laid 2 weeks ago. What we're looking to get here are not the bears themselves, but pieces of fur caught in the trap, which get analyzed for DNA. I have to admit, I do hope we see a bear.
Okay, it looks like a good tuft of bear hair around the corner there.
You found some more?
Yeah, just on this barb here around the corner.
Ooh, that's a big one. That's huge. This guy lost some fur here.
So that's definitely bear fur.
So is this a grizzly bear, you think, or a black bear?
I think in this case here, it's probably more likely to be a black bear because it's most of them are consistent color. Okay, so the grand finale for you is to pour the cow blood and the fish juice on the bait pile.
Yummers. The whole thing, right?
Yeah, and we'll just watch your pants and your feet because you might get a little splatter happening there. Yeah, and just get a lot of on top in the moss on the top there.
I'm trying not to breathe.
Perfect.
Alrighty. Save some for Mom.
We didn't see any bears there, so Gordon is taking me 6,000 feet up into the mountains to a site where we might have better luck, an old bear den. The bears are really hard to see because of the dense forest cover. Gordon uses a specially adapted helicopter to track the radio-collared bears in his project.
So they're not going to be in the den at this time, right?
No.
When do they go again? So this is it, huh?
This is the den. This bear was in here from the end of October till I guess the beginning of April, snoozing away. And all the snow, of course, is building up over top, and there might be 4 or 5 feet of snow in here. She would excavate an entrance out and come out, and she might not have gone right downhill. They certainly can go over the tops of mountains just like this right here. 5 months they're in this den, and they don't urinate or defecate or excrete in any way while they're in the den.
How much weight do they have to put on in order to hibernate successfully?
We don't know the exact amount, but usually bears that we can catch in the spring are, say, 230 pounds. By fall, that same bear can be a 400-pound bear. So putting on weight is important to allow them to actually reproduce successfully and have cubs, and also to get through hibernation, because they do burn energy while they're in their den.
Then, just as we were leaving, I'd like to hang with the bears some more, but time to go to the third province on my list, British Columbia. I'm taking the Via Rail train from Jasper to Vancouver.
Here's your first tip. Get into the dome car right away so you can get a good view of what's coming up. Now this is a room with a view.
The final leg of the east to west journey on the Canadian is considered to be the most spectacular of the trip. I'm taking a 14-hour leg of the train's 12-day journey across Canada to Vancouver before heading to Whistler for a little recreation.
For my next tip, get yourself a CanRail pass, and once you're on board, see if you can get yourself upgraded.
The difference can be worth a few $100s. The pass can last from 12 to 15 days during a 30-day period, costing from between $450 to $700 Canadian, depending on the season.
Much better.
Wine?
Thank you.
Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you very much. Look at this. Fine dining, moving scenery. What more could you ask for? Delicious. And for my final tip, make sure you leave a tip.
Vancouver, Canada's third largest city, has a population of around 2 million. Its unbeatable combination of mountains and water make it one of the fastest growing cities in North America.
A great way to see the city is from the water.
You can rent boats by the hour. And when you're ready to head indoors, the Museum of Anthropology should be your first stop. First Nations people have been living in this region for thousands of years.
These beautiful carvings are totem poles, and they can only be found amongst the Northwest Pacific Coast First Nations. The best way to understand a totem pole is to think of it like a family crest, where everything on it, be it animals or people, a special meaning to that family or clan.
In addition to the First Nation communities, Vancouver's large Asian population has given it the nickname Gateway to the East. Along with ethnic tolerance, British Columbia has a very open-minded marijuana policy. For some reason, I'm getting really hungry. So, inspired by the museum,
I'm gonna eat here. Liligeta is Vancouver's original First Nations restaurant. Oh my goodness. This is a feast.
It's a platter for two, Liligeta platter for two.
Man, all this food, I don't know how I'm gonna eat all this by myself. Need some help? Yes, help yourself. This is quite a feast. What are you eating? I am eating duck. I'm having the salmon. How's the duck? It's really good. How's the salmon? Delicious. I feel like I ate for two. I think I did too. Oh.
Vancouver is 2 hours away from one of the great mountain resorts in the world, Whistler. It's the perfect place to go for a day trip.
The only problem is deciding what to do. This is like a playground for adults. I know, mountain biking.
Whistler developed mountain biking parks, and theirs are considered to be some of the best in the world.
So I'm here with Mish, John, Chad, Brent, and what we're gonna do is go riding. But before we go riding, we gotta get protected and suited up. I feel like a Ninja Turtle. Cowabunga, dude.
Says easier. You ready?
Yeah.
Just follow me. Let's do it.
Well, I'm not doing that.
Come on, you can do it, man. Piece of cake. You're up.
There's no way.
Oh, come on, you can do it. Piece of cake, just like Chad.
All right.
Get in there. Go for it. All right.
You know, this stuff may look easy, but it's actually pretty difficult, and I can't believe I made that.
Where's my $50? Oh, man, that sucks.
Thanks a lot, Brent. It's harder than it looks.
And here's a unique way to see Whistler's old-growth forest, zip trekking.
All right, here I go. That was awesome. Man, I was flying. I was on fire.
It's time for the final leg of my journey, the Yukon. I'm flying 2,000 miles north via Whitehorse to the gold rush town of Dawson City. You have to take 2 flights to get all the way up here, but it's worth the journey.
Managed to hitch a ride to the inn I'll be staying at. It's called Bombay Peggy's. Used to be a brothel, a real brothel. All right, thanks, Wendy.
Hey, it's been my pleasure.
See ya. Lipstick room. This is my room. Wow, and it even still looks like a brothel.
Jose.
I think I just struck gold, guys.
Now a town of around 1,800 people, during the gold rush years, Dawson City was the largest city north of San Francisco, with a population reaching 35,000. During the 6 years of the gold rush, they estimated about $100 million worth of gold was excavated from around here.
Well, this is where it all began. In 1896, 3 guys came here to go fishing. One of them saw a gold nugget, and as they looked closer, there was so much gold, he screamed out, "Bonanza!" Word got out, the gold rush started, and this has been called Bonanza Creek ever since.
Word quickly spread, and just a year later, prospectors from all over the world were heading straight for Dawson City in search of fame and fortune. It was a tough journey, over high mountain passes, and many people died trying to get here.
As if the mountain ranges weren't enough, once they got here, they still had to deal with this mighty Yukon River. 100,000 people started out the gold rush. 40,000 of those made it here, and only about a handful struck it rich.
The gold rush ended in the early 1900s, not because the gold ran out, but because all the most easily accessible gold was already gone. Today, people are still mining in Dawson City. Up here, the gold is loose in the dirt, not embedded in rocks. Dave Miller, a second-generation gold miner, is showing me how to separate the gold from the dirt using only water.
You can see how the whole table is shaking a little bit? Yeah. That sort of simulates a panning action, okay? That's the pan. To get the object is to get the gold in our hands at the end of the day. You can see there's some gold, eh? We have gold and we have leverite.
Look how tiny this is. This is what we're getting excited about, folks. Look how tiny that is. Through all these huge rocks, all this work for specks this big. This is amazing to me.
And then I met Simon Mason Wood, who weighs and melts the gold into bricks.
Simon, walk me through this. What's going on over here?
Well, I'm melting down raw gold, which you see here, and it's to get the impurities out of it, the black sand, the quartz specks you can see in the gold, and turn it into a bar form. You can see the gold coming out. That's it.
And all that is worth about 100,000?
No, that particular one is about a little over $40,000.
Wow.
Okay, here it is. It's a finished product as far as I'm concerned here.
Solid gold. Bonanza! See ya!
It's the land of the midnight sun, which means a long night of pub crawling.
Not bad for a guy who's been drinking since 9 in the morning. Is she taken?
No.
Maybe. Hey, can I get a sour toe cocktail, please?
Sour toe cocktail. All right. Most people do it with Yukon Jack. Is
Okay.
that right?
Yep,
You handle
sounds
that?
good.
Okay. So a sour toe cocktail is a drink with a toe in it.
Okay.
And we've got the toes right here.
What kind of toe are you talking about?
It's a petrified human toe, and we drop it in your drink. You have to drink the drink, and the toe has to touch your lips. And actually, if you look at it, there's little pieces that are coming off on it. So you kind of got to beware. Sometimes the little gribblies get in your drink.
Wait a second, this is a real human toe?
Yeah, this is it's an authentic human toe. People send them in, they're anonymous donors. And we have this one. We also have this one. We got this one. You can even do a foot with all 5 toes. So you can really take your pick. But this is the one most people do. Can you handle this?
You can do it.
I don't know, it's pretty tough.
Sounds really, and it looks really disgusting. The toenail's still on there.
Last summer we had 2 different people swallow the toe.
All right,
Go on.
I gotta do it. I'll try it. Let's just do the.
You gonna go for the big toe?
Common.
You guys will save me if I'm dead. Oh, this is disgusting. There's pieces of toe floating around here. All right, here we go. Look at the bottom of that. Yeah. Toenail.
Back in the airport again for my last flight.
This Canadian Classic's taking me on my last adventure, white knuckle rafting.
I fly back to Whitehorse and then drive west through Haines Junction to get to the start of my Tatshenshini River trip.
When you come to Canada, don't go to the outdoors and try not to spend too much time on the road, because the road is the only part that's not wilderness.
The Tatshenshini flows through one of the largest natural preserves in the world. I'll be going down just a small part of it. The full journey down the Tatshenshini Wild Rapids and Glacial Lakes takes 10 days, passing through the Yukon, British Columbia, and Alaska. This is true wilderness.
About to head down the Tatshenshini River, Class 3 Rapids.
Finally, we reached the Glacier Lake and met the wind. After fighting the rapids, we fought the wind on the lake and just couldn't go any further. But what a way to end my 5,000-mile journey.
I've covered what seems like 1,000,000 miles with hardly anyone in sight. And yet the people I've met have been warm and welcoming. I've followed legends, rode with cowboys, searched for grizzlies, and had the wildest river trip of my life. I've done all this, and I've barely scratched the vast surface of Western Canada.
Thank you.